chat. And I think the general consensus is that California has the best athletes in the world, and specifically the Southern California region. But the next question I have for you is, what was it like watching Primetime get ready for Jerry Rice and vice versa? And how was the intensity?
Primetime had a routine before every game. He would lay out his outfit that he was going to wear in front of his locker, and you would do everything from the headband that was going to be around his neck, the wristbands, the gloves. He would lay it out and make sure it looked good before he started putting it on. And he was that type of guy that was focused that if he had Jerry Rice or whoever he does, he was going to do his best to shut him down. He's one of the best shutdown corners I've ever seen play. He had this way about him that he could go step for step with anybody. He had this knack for finding the ball, and more importantly, he was just a play creator. And I remember specifically there was one team meeting where Jerry Glanville was talking. This is when he was coaching, and Primetime was in the back. He was reading the paper in the back of the room, along with Mike Ken, who had cigarettes, stuff like that. That's just how the veterans did it back then. But anyways, Primetime was in the back of the room, and Jerry had stopped the film, and he said, "Hey, Prime, could you pay attention to this real quick? Pay attention to this defense I'm going over." And Prime put the paper down. He said, "Hey, Jerry, just tell me who I got. I'll shut him down." And he put the paper back up, and that was Primetime. So, Jerry Rice had some battles, but for what it was worth, we could beat the 49ers on a consistent basis. I saw Steve Young many times beat us in that Falcon uniform, and they were just that good of a team, that complete of a team. And that's one of the reasons why, Deion became free agent. He jumped up.
Yeah. Who was your favorite teammate of all time?
Favorite teammate of all time? Well, made a lot of good friends. One of the guys that I was closest with my time in Oakland, his name was Mo Collins. He was offensive tackle. I was drafted out of Florida. And we became great friends. He eventually became my guard on the inside, and we had some great time together. We were friends even after he left the game. He died a few years back at 38, and it was really hard for me to swallow because he was a great family man. I was really close to his family to this day, still close to his family. But he was one of my best friends. I was close with a lot of guys, especially my offensive line that we went to the Super Bowl. Before Barrett Robbins had his problems, him and I were close. Frank Middleton, Barry Sims, my offensive line, Steve Newsom to this day is another offensive lineman. The great fraternal order that is the National Football League is just like a very huge fraternity, especially when you played with guys or played against guys, because we can take our frustrations out on each other on the field, but when we take off the helmets and we're in real life, we're palling it around, we're hanging out, and we're having some fun.
I love it, man. And today, there's some great athletes today. Who would you part with your money to watch play now?
Well, you know what? When it comes to there's so much good play. I mean, it's hard to be specific, but Patrick Mahomes has impressed me since he's come into the league because he's done stuff I've never seen done before. But same thing like you said about Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, these quarterbacks, they're fun to watch because they just make plays. I love intelligence. I love intelligence when it's translated on the football field. And so when you're able to see what a defense can do or a defense is about and know how to break it down, that's a beautiful thing. Conversely, the chess match that goes on between coaches and how to stop, the defenses. So how do you stop what the Kansas City Chiefs can do on offense, or what the Green Bay Packers can do on offense and stuff like that? How do you stop it? How do you slow it down? That too is intriguing to me. So one of the things that I do as a broadcaster is I first read the defense, I look at the safeties, and I see where you could possibly go, and I try to imagine if I was playing quarterback where I would go with the ball, or was that a good decision, or how that work out. Conversely, if I was a defender, how would I stop him? What would you do different? So that's why I'm intrigued by being a broadcaster and having fun watching the game from that vantage point or that viewpoint.
I love it. I want to finish with this last question. It's a two-part question. I'm sorry, Fred.
No, take it.
So it's Black History Month, and I'm ask everybody this every day. But what does Black History Month mean to you? And the second part of that question, which activists or which one of our elders have motivated and influenced you the most in your life?
Well, the first question is, what Black History Month means to me is to continue to try to impress upon people of all walks of life the true beauty that Black people bring and throughout history, their effect on history. Um, because I think a lot of times you see a lot of races that are so involved with themselves that they forget about other races or they don't take other races seriously. And Black people tend to do it as well. But it's also a time to me where you can reflect on the past and look forward to the future. Because as a father, I want better for my children, but I also want them to understand that they need to take pride in being Black, and that's something that they can do by living by a positive example. You don't have to. I tell all my kids, you don't have to play football, you don't have to go to the NFL, but you got to do something with your life. You're not just going to sit around. So and collect a check on welfare because that's not going to happen, or stuff like that, or just be a degenerate. So that's what Black History Month means to me. It means to project and to be a better influence or a better person for future generations to stand up and be counted. And everyone can do it in their own way. As far as activists go, you know, I've always prided myself on reading, the writings of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and reflecting on some of the great writings of Langston Hughes and stuff like that to help enlighten and fulfill and enrich my viewpoint on the world. Um, Knowing that and being a man, in this world for 50 years, knowing that no one's perfect, not trying to be perfect, just trying to learn from the things that have affected my life, having kids out of wedlock, having and trying to be a father to them, with not growing up with a father, as a Black man, trying to be a better father as a Black man than my father was for me, and more importantly, try to learn from the examples that the people around me that were most influential to me, aunts, uncles, and stuff like that. So it's as far as an inspiration goes, there's not one in particular that's motivated me. It's the combination of them all, including some of the great ones like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Jim Brown, who done it from the athletic standpoint. The champ Muhammad Ali, when he was alive, had a chance to talk with him, and we talked about a lot of the similarities that have still haunt us as an ethnic group, that hasn't changed since they were young. So it's it's been a long one. It's been a tough one. It's a tough road. We still got a long way to go, but I'm hoping that it gets better for the next generation.
That answer just made me smarter.
It did, right? It did, didn't it?